We're 1, 2.
We were sort of introduced to everything the first night, and we went through the training that we were going to have, and you know, where it was going to put us in terms of certifications going forward. Basically, we're very at the very beginning stages of this. You know, there's much more advanced teams around the country that do this. We're coming in, we're learning some of the basic techniques of standardized procedures for this, you know, in terms of shoring, and we're getting familiar with our equipment, our trailer. You know, we're getting the stuff out, we're using it. You know, we're exercising, we're just getting familiar with what we have, and oftentimes we come up with a list of things we could use additionally. So we're coming up with that. We're given different scenarios. We're sort of walk through it the first time, and then the second and third time, they sort of turn it over to us and let us do it, and then they critique us as we go. Well, there's the blueprint of the standardized procedure, and you know, we're given the way it's supposed to be, and then we have to apply it out in the field. We're never given perfect circumstances out in the field, so basically we're going to have to adapt that, but at least we know the basic principles of what we're supposed to be doing. Well, because there's times when we're going to need to get in there as the first responders, and you know, we're going to need to do some basic structure, shoring, and stuff like that until the more advanced teams are able to come in and take over and supplement what we did. But at least we'll be able to get in there and do some initial operations to get things secure. We're basically getting familiar with the types of things that we're able to do, and then more importantly, our limitations as to where we would sort of stop and then let some more advanced teams come in and take over. So we're just getting familiar with some of the basic carpentry techniques of what we need to do to do some structural shoring. And you know, there's some carpenters, construction type guys here, and then there's some guys that aren't, and it's a matter of getting familiar with who the people are that we're going to be looking to do the different skills going forward. Well, you know, we don't know what we're going to come across when we're at a fire, if we could call to an actual building collapse, but we might come across a situation where if there was a life safety issue, we would need to get into a space that we normally wouldn't go in. And we just want to make that as safe as we possibly can to perform our operations. So if we have to shore up an opening, if we have to just create a space to prevent a further collapse, you know, or there's something we're just not comfortable with to begin with. We never know what existing conditions we're going to a house. We don't know if it's not been maintained, the roof hasn't been on, all the structural members are rotted. We just don't know. So it might be a house under renovation where, you know, some of the structural members are gone as we get there. So we can't assume anything. We kind of have to get in there and assess everything for ourselves and make it safe to do our operations. Well, that was a situation where that was more of a teamwork exercise, where, you know, there was 2 or 3 different operations. One, we had to assess what we had to lay out the situation, come up with our dimensions. We made a cut list, and then there was a group of guys that went over and had the stuff cut at the cutting stations. We had a guy, really talented carpenter, doing our cuts for us, and then they were able to bring back the pieces, and as the pieces came back, we began assembling. And then at that point, when all the cuts were done, our whole team was back together, and then we got into assembling the unit, picking it up, and putting it in position. Well, it's really helpful because, you know, we're 5 different departments, and there's all kinds of different talent across the departments. We all know each other, we're all familiar with each other, but to train together, you know, we know the guys in our own departments well, and we know our own talents, but to get to know the other guys and who to reach out to from the other companies and just get familiar with this, we know who to go to for the different, you know, tasks that need to be completed. You know, everybody's got their own talents, and it's just good to find out what they are. It makes us feel good. I mean, you know, it's good to get out here training. It's good to be out here with all the other guys from the different departments, and you know, again, probably the most important thing we learn in this is our limitations. You know, we know that what we get in there and what we can do, and then we're even more familiar with where we should sort of stop and let somebody else take over. That's going to keep everybody safe.